Commander Vex Talon stood on the observation deck, his four eyes blinking in sequence as he watched the public execution. His scaled skin rippled with satisfaction while the primitive humans dangled from the anti-gravity gallows. The sight amused him greatly. Look at them swing. So undignified, he chortled, nudging Sub-Commander Zara beside him. Did they really think their pitiful military could stand against the might of the Draconid Imperium? Zara flicked her tail in agreement, her mandibles clicking with amusement. Humans. Always so confident until the moment of truth arrives. Below them, in the central plaza of what was once called Washington, D.C., 5 human generals hung suspended in the air, their bodies rotating slowly for the assembled crowd of conquered Earthlings to witness. The anti-gravity field preserved their lives, just barely prolonging their suffering for maximum psychological impact. General Williams is turning a fascinating shade of purple, observed Science Officer Krell, who was taking detailed biological readings. These humans have such expressive circulatory systems. Quite entertaining. Vex Talon grunted in agreement. How long until brain death? At current oxygen deprivation rates, approximately 20 more minutes, Krell replied, consulting his datapad. Though General Martinez appears to be fading faster. Poor cardiovascular health, perhaps. Hey! The crowd of humans below remained silent, thousands of them forced to watch at gunpoint by Draconid soldiers. Their collective horror was palpable even from this height, exactly as Vex Talon had intended. Record everything, he ordered. Broadcast it to every human settlement across this miserable rock. Let them all see what happens to those who resist. With pleasure, Commander Zara purred, her claws tapping the communication controls. The invasion of Earth had been laughably easy. Human technology was centuries behind the Draconid fleet. Their nuclear weapons had been neutralized before they could even launch. Their electronic systems hacked and disabled within hours. Their militaries overwhelmed in less than a week. Such a disappointment, really. Vex Talon had hoped for more of a challenge. "Commander," called Lieutenant Nexus from the communication station. "The Supreme Overlord is requesting a status update." Vex Talon straightened his posture immediately. Put him through on the private channel. The holographic display flickered to life, revealing the imposing figure of Supreme Overlord Drac, his black scales gleaming under the lights of the Imperial flagship. "Commander Vex Talon," the Overlord's voice rumbled. "I trust the execution is proceeding according to plan?" "Yes, my Overlord. The human military leadership is being eliminated as we speak. Their forces are scattered and disorganized. Earth is yours." The Overlord's mouth twisted into what passed for a smile among their kind. "Excellent. And the resistance?" "Minimal, Overlord. There are scattered pockets, but nothing our troops can't handle. These humans break easily once their chain of command is disrupted." "Do not underestimate them, Commander," cautioned the Overlord, his tone suddenly serious. "Our intelligence suggests humans are remarkably adaptable. Ensure all military leadership is eliminated." "Of course, Overlord. We have captured their top generals and admirals. The execution will send a clear message that resistance is." "I don't care about messages, Commander. I care about results. Have you located their emergency command centers? What about their submarine fleet?" Vex Talon shifted uncomfortably. "We are tracking down their submarines now. As for emergency command, we believe it was in a facility called NORAD, which we have neutralized." The Overlord's eyes narrowed. "You believe? Confirm it, Commander. I want no surprises." "Yes, Overlord. Immediately." After the transmission ended, Vex Talon turned to his intelligence officer. "Quint, status report on remaining human military assets." Quint, a smaller Draconid with specialized sensor organs, consulted his station. "Most surface vessels have been destroyed or captured. Air forces similarly neutralized. We are still tracking approximately 20 nuclear submarines. 3 aircraft carriers unaccounted for. Ground forces are surrendering in large numbers, though guerrilla activities have been reported in several regions." "What about their space assets?" Minimal threat, Commander. We destroyed their primary military satellites on approach. Their space station surrendered without resistance. Vex Talon nodded, returning his attention to the execution below. The human General Thompson was now shouting something, though the words were inaudible at this distance. Probably final defiance. How predictable. Increase the gravity field on that one, Vex Talon ordered with a dismissive gesture. Let's cut his speech short. The general's face contorted as the invisible force tightened around his throat. Humans and their dramatic last words, Zara said with a snicker. What do they possibly hope to achieve? They are a sentimental species, replied Krell. They believe in concepts like dying with dignity and inspiring future generations. Quite absurd when you think about it. A junior officer approached, saluting nervously. Commander, we have detected unusual communication patterns originating from the human territories in what they call Montana. Specifics, Officer, Vex Talon demanded. It's difficult to pinpoint, sir. Burst transmissions heavily encrypted. Our systems can't break the code. Vex Talon frowned. Direct a reconnaissance squadron to investigate and intensify our signals intelligence efforts. Yes, Commander. As the officer hurried away, Vex Talon returned his attention to the execution. General Williams had stopped struggling. His body hung limply now, though the anti-gravity field kept him from the mercy of death. Krell? Status on Williams? Unconscious but alive, Commander. His vital signs are weakening. Revive him. I want them all conscious for the final phase. Krell manipulated his controls, and below, General Williams jerked back to awareness, his body spasming. Much better, Vex Talon said, baring his teeth. Now, prepare for the broadcast to all human settlements. It's time for my speech. The commander moved to the central platform, adjusting his ceremonial armor as hovering camera drones positioned themselves around him. The backdrop was perfect, the dangling human generals visible behind him, the conquered human capital spread out below. Citizens of Earth, he began, his voice automatically translated into all major human languages by the ship's systems. Your military forces have failed you. Your governments have surrendered. The Draconid Imperium now claims this planet as its newest territory. He paused for effect, enjoying the moment. Resistance is not only futile but punishable by public execution, as these former leaders have discovered. However, the Imperium is merciful to those who accept their proper place. Surrender completely, and you may live as productive subjects under our benevolent rule. Vex Talon gestured to the hanging generals. This is the cost of defiance. This is the price of. Commander. Quint interrupted urgently. We are detecting multiple launch signatures from various locations around the planet. What? Human missiles? Impossible. Our countermeasures. Not missiles, sir. Small craft. Hundreds of them, rising from hidden facilities, oceans, and sir, they appear to be using some kind of propulsion technology we haven't encountered before. Vex Talon snarled. Show me. The tactical display activated, showing a swarm of small signatures rising from Earth's surface. Analysis, Krell. The science officer was frantically reviewing data. Unknown technology, Commander. Not standard chemical rockets. Not ion drives. Some kind of the energy readings are off the charts. Weapons? Unclear, but... Commander, Quint broke in again, his voice rising in pitch. We are receiving a transmission. From Earth. They are requesting to speak with you directly. Vex Talon straightened his posture. Put it through. Let's hear what desperate plea these humans have to offer. The main screen flickered, and a human face appeared. A female with dark skin and close-cropped gray hair. She wore a simple black uniform with no insignia. This is Director Amanda Foster of Earth Defense Network, she said calmly. To whom am I speaking? Vex Talon stepped forward. Commander Vex Talon of the Draconid Imperium. Your surrender has already been accepted, human. This communication is unnecessary. The woman's expression didn't change. No surrender was offered, Commander. The individuals you have captured and executed were exactly what we wanted you to find. A cold feeling spread through Vex Talon's gut. Explain yourself. Those generals were part of our conventional forces. Important, yes, but not irreplaceable. You see, Earth has always prepared for this day. We call it the Great Filter, the moment when humanity would face an existential threat from beyond our world. Vex Talon laughed, though it sounded forced even to his own ears. And you believe you are prepared for us? Your technology is primitive, your weapons ineffective, your resistance broken. Foster smiled slightly. That's what we wanted you to think. While you were focused on our conventional military assets, you failed to notice Earth's true defensive capabilities. Those small craft your sensors are detecting, that's just the beginning. On the tactical display, the swarm of Earth vessels was growing, now numbering in the thousands. You have activated Protocol Zero, Foster continued. It's quite simple. When hostile aliens attempt to conquer Earth and believe they have won, we reveal our actual technological capabilities. The impossible, Krell blurted out. Our intelligence was exactly what we fed you, Foster finished. For decades, we have maintained the appearance of technological inferiority while developing our real defenses in secret. Those generals you are so proudly executing? They volunteered for their roles, knowing they would serve as the trigger for Protocol Zero if captured. Vex Talon's scales bristled with rage. You are bluffing. This is a desperate attempt to. Commander, interrupted Quint, the human vessels are taking up positions around our fleet. They are surrounding us. Destroy them. Vex Talon ordered. Sir, our weapons systems they are not responding. Something is interfering with. A blinding light flashed outside the viewport, followed by another, then dozens more. On the tactical display, Draconid ships began disappearing from the grid. What you are witnessing, Foster explained calmly, is the neutralization of your invasion force. We could destroy your ships, but we prefer to disable and capture them. Less messy that way. Vex Talon stared in disbelief as another explosion lit up the sky. This is impossible. How could you hide such technology? Compartmentalization. Misdirection. Patience. Humans are quite good at keeping secrets when properly motivated. And the threat of extinction is very motivating. The ship suddenly lurched, sending officers stumbling across the command deck. We have lost engine control, reported a panicked technician. Something's overriding our systems. Commander Zara hissed. We should activate the self-destruct sequence before they capture. That won't work either, Foster interjected. We have already isolated those systems. Your ship is now under our control. Vex Talon's mind raced. This couldn't be happening. Humans were primitive, weak. Their technology was generations behind the Imperium's. It had to be a trick. You find this hard to believe? Foster noted, reading his expression. That's understandable. Your species judges others by their apparent technological level. We counted on that arrogance. Another explosion rocked the ship. That was your primary weapons array being disabled, Foster explained. Don't worry, your life support systems will remain functional. Vex Talon snarled. The Overlord will send reinforcements. This planet will burn for your deception. No reinforcements are coming, Commander. The quantum entanglement network you use for faster-than-light communication. We have been monitoring and interfering with it since your ships entered our solar system. Your Overlord believes everything is proceeding according to plan. As if to punctuate her statement, the ship's artificial gravity fluctuated, momentarily lifting everyone a few inches off the deck before dropping them unceremoniously. Sorry about that, Foster said, not sounding sorry at all. Still calibrating our control systems to your technology. Down below, on the anti-gravity gallows, something was happening. The generals' bodies were dissolving? No, not dissolving, transforming. Their human features melted away, revealing something else entirely. Holograms, Foster explained. With some sophisticated drone technology. Quite convincing, weren't they? The real generals are safely coordinating our counteroffensive. Vex Talon's world was collapsing around him. And why? He managed to ask. Why maintain this deception? Why not simply defend yourselves openly? Foster's expression hardened. Because we needed to identify all your forces, learn your tactics, understand your technology, and most importantly, we needed you to reveal your true intentions. Would you have come in peace if you believed we could match your power? Or would you have simply brought more ships, more weapons? She leaned closer to the camera. Now we know exactly what kind of species we are dealing with, and we will respond accordingly. The ship shuddered again, more violently this time. That concludes our demonstration, Commander, Foster said. Your vessel is now being guided to a secure facility. You and your crew will be treated humanely, studied, and eventually given options for your future. Those options will not include returning to your Imperium. This is not possible, Vex Talon whispered. And yet, here we are, Foster replied. You laughed while hanging our generals. Now it's our turn to reveal the punchline. The screen went dark, leaving Vex Talon staring at his own reflection, a commander who had just realized he'd fallen into the most elaborate trap in Draconid military history. Outside the viewport, Earth's secret fleet surrounded them, their mysterious drives glowing with impossible energy. And somewhere below, humans were surely laughing at how easily they had turned the tables. Protocol Zero had been activated, and the real war, the one the Draconid Imperium never saw coming, was just beginning. 3 days in human captivity had taught Commander Vex Talon more about humiliation than his entire 87 cycles of life. His once pristine command uniform hung in tatters around his scaled frame. And the temperature in his cell, deliberately kept cooler than Draconid comfort levels, made his movements sluggish and his thoughts foggy. Wakey, wakey, eggs and bakey, announced the human guard, Parker, sliding a tray through the small opening in the transparent barrier. Though I guess you prefer your meat raw, huh, Commander Lizardface? Vex Talon didn't respond. He'd learned that engaging with the guards only encouraged their mockery. Silent treatment again? Suit yourself. Parker tapped the barrier. Director Foster wants to see you in an hour. Try to look presentable, though that might be asking too much. After the guard left, Vex Talon reluctantly examined the food tray. More cooked meat and vegetation. His species could eat it, but barely. Another calculated discomfort. The humans were surprisingly sophisticated in their psychological tactics. Vex Talon's ship, the Imperium's proud flagship, Inevitable Conquest, had been captured intact and towed to a facility buried deep within a mountain range. Most of his crew were being held in a separate location. Only his senior officers shared this prison, kept in individual cells along the same corridor. Seen through the transparent wall, he could see Sub-Commander Zara in the cell opposite. She sat motionless, staring at the floor, her once vibrant scales now dull. Science Officer Krell occupied the cell to his right, constantly scribbling notes about their captivity on scraps of material, maintaining the pretense of scientific observation even now. Vex Talon picked at the food, his mind replaying the catastrophic defeat for the 1000th time. But how had the humans concealed such technology? How had the Imperium's intelligence been so completely wrong? An hour later, 4 guards arrived to escort him to Director Foster. They secured his limbs with energy restraints that prevented any aggressive movement while allowing him to walk. Quite a change from your observation deck, isn't it, Commander? One guard remarked as they marched through the facility. No more anti-gravity executions for you to enjoy. The hallways were bustling with humans in various uniforms, many examining pieces of Draconid technology harvested from captured ships. They passed a laboratory where technicians were disassembling a Draconid pulse rifle, casually improving its design as they studied it. They entered a large chamber dominated by holographic displays showing the status of the human counteroffensive. Vex Talon's heart sank as he recognized the tactical patterns. The humans weren't just defending Earth, they were systematically isolating and capturing every Draconid vessel in the solar system. Director Foster stood at the center of this hive of activity, calmly issuing orders to subordinates who hurried to comply. She looked exactly as she had during their first communication, composed, confident, and utterly unimpressed by the alien invasion force. Commander Vex Talon, she acknowledged without looking up from her datapad. I trust your accommodations are adequate. You know they are not, he growled. Comparable to how you planned to house human prisoners, according to the files we recovered from your ship. Perhaps even more comfortable. She finally looked at him. Consider yourself fortunate. What do you want from me? Foster gestured to the displays. Nothing, really. Your tactical knowledge is already outdated. Your technology, while advanced, has obvious limitations our engineers are addressing. Your crew is providing all the biological data we need. She took a step closer. This meeting is more of a courtesy, an opportunity to show you what Protocol Zero really means for your Imperium. She waved a hand, and the central display changed to show a massive spaceship unlike anything in the Draconid fleet. Its design was sleek yet functional, with no wasted elements. Energy signatures pulsed along its hull. The EDS Reckoning, Foster explained. Earth defense ship, first of its class. There are 20 more like it, hidden in various locations throughout our solar system. They have never been deployed, until now. Vex Talon stared at the vessel. Its size rivaled the Imperium's largest dreadnoughts, but its design was completely alien to his experience. Impossible, he muttered. Such ships cannot be hidden. Can't they? We built them in segments, deep within planetoids and moons, using materials that absorb or deflect standard scanning methods. Your surveillance never detected them because you were looking for the wrong signatures. The display shifted to show the ship accelerating, then simply vanishing. What was that? Vex Talon demanded. For that, Commander, was our version of faster-than-light travel. Not dependent on jump points like your system. Not limited by quantum entanglement constraints. True interstellar capability. The implications hit Vex Talon like a physical blow. If humans could travel between stars without using the established jump network controlled by the Imperium. You are bluffing, he said weakly. Foster smiled. The Reckoning reached your nearest outpost at Proxima Centauri 20 hours ago. It's already on its way to the next Draconid colony. She tapped another control, and the display showed footage from what must be the Proxima outpost Draconid soldiers surrendering to human forces in advanced combat suits. We are not destroying your outposts, Foster explained. Just repurposing them. Gathering intelligence. Inserting our agents into your network. The Overlord will. Supreme Overlord Draconid has received confirmation that Earth has been successfully conquered, Foster interrupted. At least, that's what the report said. It came through your authenticated channels, using your encryption protocols, bearing your personal codes. She smiled thinly. We are quite good at signals intelligence, you see. Your communications network is rather primitive by our standards. Quite easy to infiltrate once we understood its basic architecture. Vex Talon's legs nearly gave out beneath him. You have doomed yourselves. When the Overlord discovers this deception, he will what? Send more ships for us to capture. Deploy worse weapons for us to turn against you? Foster shook her head. Your species has a fundamental misunderstanding of humanity, Commander. You saw our apparent technological limitations and assumed we were weak. A fatal error. The displays around the room changed again, showing different aspects of Earth's hidden capabilities. Orbital defense platforms emerging from camouflaged positions. Manufacturing facilities buried deep beneath mountains. Training centers where soldiers practiced with weapons far beyond what the Draconid scouts had reported. For centuries, we have maintained a facade, a technological Potemkin village designed specifically to lure threats like you into a trap, Foster continued. Our public technology advanced at a carefully controlled pace, while our actual capabilities developed in secret. But why? Vex Talon asked. Why the deception? Foster considered him for a moment. 2 reasons. First, we needed to identify which alien species we could trust. Those who approached us peacefully despite our apparent vulnerability proved themselves worthy of diplomatic relations. And the second? Awe. We needed to identify threats like you expansionist empires that prey on what they perceive as weaker species. Her expression hardened. You provided a perfect test case for Protocol Zero. She gestured, and the displays shifted again, now showing multiple Earth vessels approaching what Vex Talon recognized with horror as the Imperium's capital world. That's impossible, he whispered. The distance, the defenses. Your home system defenses are formidable, Foster acknowledged. But they are designed to repel enemies using technology you understand. We don't play by those rules. She walked toward another display, motioning for Vex Talon to follow. It showed a three-dimensional map of known space, with Draconid territories highlighted. Your empire spans 46 star systems with colonies or outposts in 27 others. Impressive by the standards of most species you have encountered. Foster tapped the display. We have already infiltrated 12 of those systems. Within a month, we will have access to them all. You plan to conquer us, Vex Talon stated flatly. Foster laughed a sound that chilled his blood. Conquer? No. That's your way, not ours. We have a different approach. The display changed again, showing humans working alongside members of various alien species some Vex Talon recognized as races subjugated by the Imperium generations ago. Liberation, Foster explained. We are offering the species you have conquered something they have never had from you, a choice. Freedom, alliance, or continued association with a reformed Draconid governance structure. Vex Talon snorted. They will choose revenge. They will slaughter Draconids by the millions. Some might want to. Which is why we are overseeing the transition. Foster's voice became steel. Make no mistake, Commander, we are not naive idealists. Any violence against former oppressors will be prevented. But the era of Draconid dominance is over. She turned to face him directly. Which brings us to your role in all this. My role. Vex Talon blinked in confusion. I'm your prisoner. For now, but you have options. Foster nodded to an aide, who handed her a datapad. Option 1, remain in custody for the duration of this conflict, after which you will be relocated to a Draconid reservation world. A reservation? Like animals? Like a defeated people who need time to adjust to a new reality, Foster corrected. Option 2, assist us in communicating with your leadership, facilitating a smoother transition and potentially saving millions of lives on both sides. Vex Talon stared at her. You want me to betray the Imperium? I want you to help your people adapt to their new circumstances. The Imperium as you knew it is finished, Commander. That's not negotiable. But what replaces it, that's still being determined. She gestured to the screens showing Earth ships throughout Draconid space. This isn't a negotiation, Commander. It's a courtesy. The decisions will be made with or without your input. Vex Talon felt something he'd rarely experienced: genuine fear for his civilization's future. And if I refuse both options, then you will watch from your cell as everything you have known is dismantled. Foster's expression softened slightly. It doesn't have to be that way. Your expertise could ease this transition, prevent unnecessary suffering. But before Vex Talon could respond, alarms blared throughout the facility. Foster turned to a communications officer. Report. Director, we have intercepted a Draconid battle group entering the solar system. 5 dreadnoughts, multiple support vessels. Foster seemed unconcerned. Identification? Imperial Guard Fleet, Ma-Am. Overlord Drakmore's personal escort. Vex Talon felt a surge of hope. The Overlord comes himself. Now you will understand the true might of the Imperium. Foster turned to him with something like pity in her eyes. No, Commander. Now your Overlord will understand the full scope of Protocol Zero. She issued rapid commands, and the tactical displays shifted to show Earth's defensive positions. Hidden weapon platforms activated throughout the system. The mysterious fleet of advanced ships moved into interception formation. Launch Operation Checkmate, Foster ordered calmly. On the displays, something extraordinary happened. Space itself seemed to ripple around the incoming Draconid fleet. Their ships suddenly slowed, as if caught in invisible amber. Localized space-time manipulation, Foster explained, noting Vextalon's confusion. We are adjusting the physical constants within a defined bubble around their fleet. Their engines are still functioning at full power, but the space they are trying to move through has different properties now. That's beyond theoretical physics, Krell stammered from where he stood with his own guards, having been brought to witness this demonstration as well. For you, perhaps, Foster replied. We have had functional gravity manipulation for over a century. This is simply an extension of those principles. The Draconid fleet, now moving at a fraction of their normal speed, was surrounded by Earth vessels that seemed to blink into existence around them. Boarding teams deployed, reported a tactical officer. Targeted systems neutralization in progress. No, Vextalon whispered as he watched the Overlord's mighty fleet being systematically disabled without firing a single shot. No, this cannot be happening. Accept reality, Commander, Foster said quietly. Your Overlord will be our guest within the hour. Just as you are. Vextalon stared at the displays in disbelief. The pride of the Imperium, rendered impotent by technology he couldn't begin to comprehend. How? He finally asked. How did humans develop such capabilities in secret? Foster considered the question. Necessity, unity of purpose, and fear a powerful motivator. She gestured to the stars on the display. We detected your scout ships generations ago. We intercepted communications from your exploration vessels. We knew what was coming, but the technology gap is deliberate. Foster nodded to a lieutenant, who brought forward what looked like a small metal cube. This device contains the complete specifications for your most advanced warship. We recovered it from your vessel's databanks. She set it on a table between them. Our engineers have already identified 147 critical improvements that could be made using materials and techniques available to your civilization. Your technology isn't inferior because you lack capacity, Commander. It's inferior because your society prioritizes conquest over innovation. The cube projected a holographic schematic of an improved Draconid vessel. The design was elegant, efficient, and clearly superior to anything in the Imperial fleet. Your civilization has stagnated, Foster continued. You conquered others and adapted their technologies, but you stopped pushing boundaries centuries ago. Humans never stop pushing. The alarm silenced as reports confirmed the complete capture of the Overlord's fleet. Foster turned back to Vextalon. So, Commander, your options remain open, but the timeline has accelerated. Will you help us communicate with your Overlord? Explain the new reality he faces? Vextalon looked around at the command center, at the displays showing Earth's overwhelming technological superiority, at the faces of humans calmly dismantling an empire that had stood for thousands of years. They had laughed while hanging the generals, or what they thought were generals. Empty puppets, bait in an elaborate trap. And now the trap had snapped shut not just on his expedition, but on the Imperium itself. I will speak to the Overlord, he finally said. He should understand what we are facing. Foster nodded. A wise choice. As Vextalon was led toward the communication center where he would soon face his supreme leader, he glanced back at the tactical displays. Earth ships were appearing near every major Draconid world now, their impossible drives allowing them to bypass all the defensive networks the Imperium had spent centuries establishing. Protocol Zero wasn't just a defensive measure, he realized. It was humanity's carefully planned entrance onto the galactic stage, a revelation of power so overwhelming that resistance was indeed futile. The humans hadn't just been hiding their technology. They'd been perfecting it, testing it, ensuring that when they finally revealed themselves, no force in known space could stand against them. And they'd used the Draconid invasion as the perfect opportunity to demonstrate that power. You know, Foster said, falling into step beside him as they approached the communication room. "There's something your intelligence reports got completely wrong about humans." "What's that?" Vex Talon asked tiredly. "We are not just good at fighting. We are even better at making peace." She handed him a data pad containing terms of surrender for the Imperium. "The choice was always yours. Attack and face this outcome. Become in peace, and we would have shared our knowledge freely." She smiled not unkindly. "Remember that when you speak to your Overlord. The path forward matters more than the mistakes behind us." As Vex Talon prepared to face Drakmor and explain humanity's Protocol Zero, he finally understood the humans' greatest weapon. Not their hidden fleets, or their space-time manipulation, or their advanced propulsion. Their greatest weapon was patience, the willingness to appear weak while building strength, to absorb the first blow while preparing a devastating counterstrike, was to let enemies believe they had won until the perfect moment to reveal the truth. The Draconids had laughed while hanging the generals. Now humanity would restructure the galaxy while the Imperium watched in disbelief. And somewhere in the vast bureaucracy of the Imperium, Vex Talon was certain there was a file warning about underestimating primitive species, a file no one had bothered to read. That, perhaps, was the greatest irony of all.